Welcome to Biafra Television Europe. If this is your first time of joining us on BTV, welcome. I am Ada Jovister Chichi, and today it is going to be delightful in the house to have a wonderful analyst who shall be analyzing some of the news headlines arising from Nigerian dailies. But before I will introduce him to the house, there's a quick notice that we shall look at. Public notice. Nigerian military have started their fake media propaganda they have been doing in Imo for years now against IPOB ESN. They have just published another fake news against IPOB ESN. From the pictures they released after invading one camp, it's clearly written on the banner Biafra National Guard, but they decided to target on IPOB and ESN. Biafrans, look at this banner and tell us if this banner has anything to do with IPOB or ESN. Does it mean Nigerian military don't know who is Biafra National Guard? That has nothing to do with IPOB and ESN. You can find this public notice on the Facebook account of Mazi Chika Austine. Please, Biafrans, you can go on his page to check on this notice and do justice to this very public notice. Once again, I am Ada Jovister Chichi, and in the house is the analyst.
Thank you, Wada. Thank you for this second hosting of myself on this platform by you. I am Mazi Chika Austine, and I thank you and the wonderful technical crew members of this great platform. Thank you.
Good afternoon from here, Mazi Chika Austine.
And good afternoon, good evening from here.
It's a privilege for Biafrans to have a great and wonderful analyst like you. So today is going to be another interesting day for Biafrans and lovers of freedom all over the world. We shall be taking some news headlines from Nigeria. And as we are going to look at that, I want to talk briefly about the Aburi Accord of 1967. The Aburi Accord was reached between the 4th and 5th of January 1967 in Aburi, Ghana. And there were delegates that convened at Aburi in 1967. The Nigerian military or the federal government of Nigeria were led by the then military supreme government, General Yakubu Gowon, and the Eastern region's leader was led by Chief Dim Odimegwu Emeka Ojukwu, the Ikemba one of Nnewi. On that meeting, it was agreed that each region should be at the helm of their own affairs so that they'll be contributing to the federal level. Why the military government will be in charge of everything that affects the country. And that was the agreement. It was signed. The deed was done. But on getting back to Nigeria, General Yakubu in Lagos State was convinced by the civil servants the implications of what he has just agreed to. So he was delaying to the implementation of the agreement reached in Aburi, Ghana. He delayed January, February, March. Rather, what he did was to declare decree number 8, which the Yorubas and the Northerners consented to, but the Eastern region leaders did not consent to that. They know the implications that the federal government or the military government can on any day declare. They can declare what you call uh, they can declare state of emergency on any region. So because of that, all the eastern regions and the Colonel Chukwuemeka Dim Odimegwu Ojukwu rejected to the decree number 8. So it was the refusal of the refusal to consent to decree number 8 and the refusal to implement the Aburi Accord that gave rise to Biafra Declaration. And that takes us to today's news headline, according to Sahara Reporters. Sahara Reporters news headline: Proposal on regional government to be sent to President Ahmed Tinubu. The highlights. Speaking with Punch, the drafter of the private bill, Dr. Akin Fakbohunda, who had earlier hinted on his intent to interface with the members of the National Assembly ahead of the transmission of the bill to the Parliament, said he had chosen to send the proposed law to President Tinubu, who may in turn present same to the Parliament as executive bill. Mazi Austine, I would want you to discuss regional governments. The floor is open.
Thank you once more. Um, well, we should understand that the issue of regional government have been an issue that people have been asking for, especially those of us from the south, so to say, from certain part of Nigeria have been. There have been a severe campaign, not just now, from the time of Obasanjo. People have been asking for regional government. In Yaradua's era, it was still strongly demanded. During Goodluck's time, it was strongly demanded that Goodluck initiated a process which has to do with the national confer. I think it should be 2014, the national conference that was organized by President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Buhari government was skeptical about it. He did everything possible to make sure nobody even talked about it. And we are seeing that demand resurfacing. But it's important for us to understand that what is being demanded currently is not a new project. It was once practiced in Nigeria from 1960 to 1966. Before Gowon, Ironsi, and later Gowon initiated a process of federal system. So when you talk about regional government, you're talking about what in advanced political science some people might call internal sovereignty, allowing every single region to manage their destiny, harnessing their resources, developing a political system of their choice, thereby maintaining a central structure mainly for the sole aim of conducting a foreign policy and for defense purposes. That has been applicable in major countries. In UK is obtainable, even in US is obtainable. That's why you see Texas also standing strong to oppose the federal policy of Joe Biden against the border crisis. So regional government was operated in Nigeria from 1960 to 1966. So it's not new. The essence of that is for people to understand that what is being demanded is not a new concept. It was there, but removed by the military regime. So that is all I can say about the concept of regional government as being applicable in most countries of the earth.
Thank you, Mazi Austine, for your vivid explanation. Yes, you mentioned that there was a time that this regional government was practiced. Can you please expatiate on that? The importance and the benefits of then regional governments.
Well, it's important to understand that something is ongoing in Nigeria because Nigeria has been a country without political settlement. As some persons or some quarters might argue, Nigeria has since 1960 been test running a practicable and workable political system to adopt. Since 1960, Nigeria has been a center where political systems have been, a kind of test run. People have been test running the right political system to apply in Nigeria. And in course of this year of test running, the ordinary man suffers. You see, if you look at the regional government of, let me not even look back from 1960. Let's look back from as far back as 1922, during the colonial times, where every region was managing their resources. Every region was running their own National Assembly, running their own Congress, as the case may be, running their own affairs. You discovered that in certain part of Nigeria, there was a relative, if not an absolute, economic advancement, educational advancement, even political advancement. On the contrary, if you look at North, you find out that North, running their own affairs, could not even achieve a balanced budget. Everything about the record as at the time we are talking we are all on deficit, on negative. I'm talking about Northern region. Immediately the independence was announced in 1960. From 1960 to 1966, evidence, although is on public domain, also shows that the southern region of Nigeria, especially the eastern region, was having a lot of economic explosions to a point that the economy of the eastern region of Nigeria, talking about today's Biafran land, was measurable and competing with Western economies. Go and research, like some persons will say. Go and find out. Do you know that the same North, despite a vast land for agro production, was also experiencing a budget deficit? And the question remains, why should there be so? This is where human resources is essential in the development of a people. So there is no way you can compare what the southern part of Nigeria, of course, when I talk about south, I'm talking about southwest, southeast, and the ungeographical south-south. You cannot compare what these regions experienced during the regional era to what they are experiencing contemporarily. The comparison is nowhere to be fetched. It was more of an advanced society, progressive society, economically developed society during the regional era than what is obtainable in today's so-called federal, as some people will argue, but on practical ground is unitary system we are running. So you cannot compare the two. The eastern region was flourishing. The eastern budget was balanced. The GDP was amazing. The per capita income was unmatchable. And of course, the human capital index was so flourishing that the eastern region was exporting human resources to other parts of Nigeria, to North and other parts, including to Europe and other parts of Africa for revenue, because what they were generating in those regions, they were also remitting it home. So it was really amazing period, a flourishing period to the eastern region. And that's why if you have listened to a lot of public opinions, people always tell you that the eastern people will even benefit well if Nigeria finally goes back to regional system. So you cannot compare the two. The two are incomparable. What was obtainable during the regional era to what is obtainable in the contemporary era is quite different.
Now I could understand the from what you said as far back as 1922, but historically, I can remember that it was still this budget deficits run by the North that attracted the colonial masters to amalgamate Nigeria. Because in the North, before 1914, while the colonial masters were there in the North, it was the same problem of running budget deficits. But when they got to the eastern parts of Nigeria, they discovered this huge manpower and and the growth of the GDP. And that was what brought the amalgamation of Nigeria, so that they'll be using the, let me call it, the revenue to offset the northern deficit. Can you expatiate on that a little bit?
Yes,
Oh, network glitches again.
this is very, very important to understand it. I hope I'm still coming out clear.
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Okay, it's very, very important to understand this that the colonial British government never amalgamated the South and the West for any other reason than to use what was flourishing in the South to augment the negative records in the North. They made it publicly known to everyone who cares to know that they were using the flourishing economy of the southern part of Nigeria to help the deficit North to balance their budget. So the northern Nigeria has been a burden to the south. To date, northern Nigeria has been a weighty burden starting from the colonial era to the contemporary time. They have been a liability in terms of economy. There have been liability in terms of um, social religious affairs, there have been liability in terms of political and what have you. So what Britain did was to harness the advancement of the South to see how to better or carry along the North, but not have proven in course of years that they are very weighty to be carried along. Even to today, if you see the mental development of the South and the mental development of the North, you wonder. For instance, even the same Britain have encouraged the North to hold strong on political seats. But has that transcended to socio-economic development of the North? The answer is no. Why? Because there is something that is fundamentally missing in North. It is called human capital index, which them knowingly or unknowingly have failed or refused to develop. And Britain have been finding a way to see how to encourage the South to keep on carrying this burden called the Northern burden. So that is what it is.
Thank you, Mazi. But the Northerners can only prove their large human index only during elections. But that is a topic for another day. So we can see that as it is today, the regional government is no longer practicable. So what abruptly brought to the scrapping of the regional government?
Well,
Why was it scrapped?
okay, the resurfacing of the regional government. If that is what you're asking, am I correct?
No, what led to the scrapping of the
Oh,
regional government?
yes, I told us early, the previous regional government that was obtainable, especially when you discuss Nigeria from independent era, 1960 to 1966, it was scrapped by Aguronsi Q. Make no mistake about that. And what Gowon did was to consolidate on that because they came to realize that regional government, some of these military personalities of that era, you know, were mainly trained in Britain. And so many of them believe that the best way to do is to consolidate the Nigerian project, which is mainly a British project. Because when you look at the concept of Nigerian project, you will know that it is absolutely not helpful to the indigenous people. The Nigerian project consolidation is the consolidation of British interest in Africa. So most of these military officers were trained in Britain. So they were meant to believe that the best way to show patriotism is to encourage the supranational identity known as the Nigerian identity. So they felt that the regional government was encouraging ethnic identities against the artificial identity known as Nigerian identity. So to them, the best thing to do is to abrogate, to destroy anything that encourages people's identity to their unique ethnic identities. And so many of them felt destroying regional government will help people to come to under one identity known as Nigerian identity, which, if you broaden it, is all about British slave identity. So Gowon, when Gowon came in after Ironsi, Gowon felt that the best way to do is to also encourage that destruction of regional system, because Gowon felt that if the idea, the British advised Gowon, as a matter of fact, that the best way to weaken the Biafran side was to destroy the unity that exists among the people of the old Eastern region, thereby introducing in 1967 the creation of River State and Cross River State. It was a kind of a sharp object aimed at dividing the unity of the old Eastern people. So Gowon introduced that in order to weaken the Biafran harmony, weaken the Biafran unity. And of course, it also helped in a very reasonable length. So it was not only on the side of Excelency who felt that the Nigerian identity and Nigerian project should be upheld above any ethnic identity, before it now moved to Gowon, who felt it should be weaponized, it should be used against the unity of the old Eastern region people. So if you look at what led to the destruction of old regional government, it was not even for developmental purposes. They didn't end that project because somebody was thinking about economic development. They ended regional system during the time on a selfish ground and on a concept they did not even understand. Excelency was thinking of ending anything that drives people, because what was happening was so discouraging. In Midwest, in Western region, there were a lot of crises in Yoruba land as at that time. So he felt that the best thing is to do is to bring everybody together and promote the Nigerian identity, which in a real sense is just a British identity. And Gowon felt he needs to use it as a weapon of, disunity amongst the Eastern region. None of them ever thought on economic enhancement purposes. And that's why all they applied, whether you call it federalism or unitary system, till today, none of them is working. Because it is not economic driven. Rather, it was mainly on cloud chasing, which every single one of us is suffering till today. That is it.
Thank you very much, Mazi. So now, was Nigeria under regional government better than now?
I just explained that. A few minutes ago. You cannot compare it because in regional time, every region was managing their resources. Let me tell you something most of you do not know. During the regional time, in the old Eastern region, people were sending their children overseas, paying their tuition fee because the purchasing power was high. The trade between East and other region was high, on a high balance, because every region was looking inwardly on how to generate revenue. Nobody was waiting for feeding button system we are contemporary operating. Because if you go to north, you see granite pyramids. There was competition. If you go to west, you see mass cocoa production. If you come to east, you see resin palm in Ohaji. You see the coal in Enugu. You see the other palm in Ohaji. I mean to say the resin palm in Rivers. There is also a palm in Abia State. In Ebonyi, you see yam and others, because every region was looking inward to generate resources to better itself. And jobs were created because the agro sectors were opened. And every region was also running their own internal policing system. You don't have insecurity because every region was policing themselves indigenously. Then today, which of the Nigerian state is healthy? All of them are just dependent on the federal purse. And when the federal government is broke, just the way it is today, every state is automatically sick. The policing system, you should know what it looks like. Insecurity everywhere because the supranational entity cannot police the system. And it seems as if people are now beginning to realize that they destroyed themselves because they wanted to destroy a people. And they are now saying, let us first of all start from national anthem, which says, though we are different tongues, but we can find a way to better ourselves. So people are beginning to realize the regional structure that we are not same people. Because the Nigerian project is encouraging you, denying your ethnic identity, and coming up with a slave identity known as a Nigerian identity. But and this is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been saying, that we are not one. Let us first of all accept the cardinal point that we are not one. If we now want to say, okay, that's why we are not one, but we want to see how we can, project a common goal. But first of all, we are not one. But the Nigeria project is saying, no, you don't even have to think that we are not one. You have to believe that for the fact that all of us are slaves, we should discard our uniqueness and embrace the slave identity. And it's not going to work. And people are beginning to realize it. That's why they are saying, let us invoke the old national anthem, which encourages the fact that we are not one. Because the old national anthem says we are different tongues. So it's accepting through the lyrics that we are different tongues. So you cannot compare the two. But what is happening in Nigeria, instead of Nigeria to advance in positive side, they are now beginning to realize that even the old side is now even better than the contemporary. Is a sign of unworkable system. It's a sign of a dead society. Because a dead society is supposed to advance progressively, not retrogressively. So Nigeria is looking backward to look for solution. Instead of looking forward for solution, they are looking backward. And if they are looking backward, where is the backward? The backward lies on what we have been saying. Because what are we saying? Look back on Aburi Accord is of historical antecedent. Look back on the fact that we are not one. Your old national anthem said it, that we are not one. And they say, no, these people are troublemakers, they want us to go backward. But now they are gradually snarling into the yesterdays we have been pointing at. And who is the wise person? Time is now proving that we are really endowed than the way they thought they are. So, Mada, that is what I want to say on that.
Thank you so very much. And that is to say that one day, just in one day, Nigerians will come to say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB are right. And that takes me to the next question. So, what is the relationship between Aburi Accord and the regional governments?
Well, you cannot separate the two. Mother, to be honest with you, you cannot separate the two. If there is any lines of separation, you cannot say Aburi Accord is more of a continental project because it was initiated by African member states in search of peace. But regional systems seem to be a kind of internal project, internal research. People decide to say, okay, we can do this on our own. But aside that, you cannot separate the two because the two also call for what we call for internal sovereignty. There are two kinds of sovereignty. We have internal sovereignty, which talks about you governing yourself but under a supranational identity, as obtainable in UK, in US, in Russia, and other areas. People govern themselves, but for purpose of national defense and foreign policy, they now have a larger umbrella. You understand me? It's called internal sovereignty. It's also in Spain. Catalonians have internal sovereignty. If you go to Iraq, the Kurdish people have internal sovereignty. Do you understand me? So it's if you go to Russia, what is it called? The Chechen have internal sovereignty. If you go to United States, every state in United States enjoys internal sovereignty. That's why Texas is boldly challenging the federal policy on immigration and border. These are all internal sovereignty. The two, whether you call it regional system or Aburi Accord concept, the two are championing for the same. The two are championing for the same. Because Ojukwu demanded in Aburi in Ghana for return to regional system after Gowon, came up with the idea of federal system by creating River State and Cross River State. So the two are the same. The only difference is what we call semantic choice of words. Aburi is, for me, is African initiative for regional system in Nigeria. If we say regionalism, I can say also is a local term or local way of expressing what Aburi Accord was all about. So there is no separation amongst the two.
Thank you, Mazi. Looking at your explanations, it is well understood that the Easterners were in favor of the regional governments. And now there's another proposal coming for the same regional government. Do you think that it is going to be in favor of the West? I mean the Yorubas, the regional
Well,
government.
if you use the word to say that the Easterners were favored by regional system, I think is a wrong expression, and I'm going to explain why presenting it in that way is wrong. Because the Easterners were not idle and watch regional system working in their favor. Make no mistake about that. What happened was they saw a system, they governized and took advantages in that system. That does not mean there were no areas regional system was somehow advantageous to the people of East. Make no mistake about that. What or why regional system favored the people of the East was because the people of the East harnessed the opportunity it provided. And the people of the West also harnessed the opportunity it provided. That's why Awolowo initiated a free educational system in the West, which today the impact is there for you to see. Remember the Cocoa Revolution? It also worked for the West. It didn't work for any of this region naturally. They saw opportunity, they key into it. But in the North, why it seems as if it didn't work that much is because some people have a mentality to be sitting idly and watch the system working for them. And nature abhors such. You can't believe with me. Nature abhors that. And even those who believe in the concept of evolution or evolution theory will tell you that certain human species died off because they failed to take advantage in subduing nature. That is just what it is. So it worked. It helped the people of the West just the way it helped the people of the East, because these people saw it as a healthy competitions among themselves. The West and the East were competing whose region is to be better. And in course of engaging on that healthy competition, they were able to achieve a lot of developments. But the North that was not interested in competing. I'm talking about healthy competition, not destructive competition. The North that was docile, not interested to take the advantage, What happened? You saw them looking so backward. So for those of us who, or some of us who will say that regional system help the east and the west and it didn't help the north, ask yourself, why is it that federal system have not also helped the north? Because comparatively speaking, both west and the east are also doing better than the north. Even till today, look at the poverty record in north. Look at the east. Look at the educational level in the east and west. Look at the north. I'm talking on the contemporary federal system. So if regional system did not help the north, the federal system did not help the north, which other system can help them? So you should now understand it's not all about a political structure which can help. It's all about human capital index. And people should understand this. Where there is deficit of human capital index, there are every possibility for retrogression. You get what I'm saying? So it's a natural sequence. There is nothing you can do about it. Because some people will say, regional system will help the west and the east. Ask yourself, why is even federal system not helping the north? Why are there still high dropout keys in north, despite the number of their politicians that have held the highest position in Nigeria? So it's not about the political system. It's not it. It's all about what kind of leaders do they have? What kind of socio-political system they are exposed to? So when somebody believes in feudalism and another person believes in republican system, you can't compare their results. It will definitely differ. So that is what it is, Mwada.
Thank you, Mazi. On a lighter note, I must say that as you're giving your explanations, my mind is running towards or through how a people could be proposing for a bill to be saying that cows could be citizens, probably citizens of Arewa. So do you think that those people who are purchasing this bill, that cows should become the Fulanis and the citizens of the Arewa, do you think that these people are ready to embrace this law if it's actually approved by the president? Do you think that they are going to consent to it?
No, you see, people should, uh, people should understand something. Sometimes the northern elites don't fight for the betterment of their people. They are highly clouded mentally with, this idea of primordialities. Yes, primordialities, which is really, really not a good one. Because look, this is a 21st century. Do you know that Nigeria is not even among the fourth highest producers of beef? It will shock you. Tanzania, Congo, Niger, these guys are doing wonderful. Ask yourself, why is this there is no header farmers crisis in this area? Because these guys have taken time to understand that the traditional method of doing cow business is not even helpful. Mother, let me tell you something. In every business or in every production, there's what is called value chain system. For instance, you and I, we are broadcasting. We have settled for a particular value chain, which is broadcasting. Someone else might pick this clip to maybe get the video out and use the audio only to do production. That is another value chain. Someone else also might decide to keep the audio and the video and add up a song That is another value chain. So in every production, when you look inwardly, you find out that you can generate multiple sub-productions. Now, when you look at cow business, as a matter of fact, you will not agree with me that people are no longer harnessing the meat. The cow skin is also a raw material for a product, for a finished product. The bone of a cow is being used for ceramics and other products. Now, you should also understand that the dungs, which is the excreta from the cows, are being mixed with other chemicals and it turns to organic fertilizers. What of those who are in the business of, like for instance, Brazil is the highest exporter of cow grass. Do you know the GDP Brazil generates from that in exporting grasses? So these are various value chain systems inherent in that business. But because an average northerner thinks averagely, still look at the world from 19th century perspective. That's why they are even talking about freedom of cow to be enshrined in the constitution. When people are now doing ranching, harnessing the value chain, what of the milk harnessed from cow? What of the medical value chain system? Because when you start doing ranching, you also enable the what is it called? Those who study the health of animals to also advance in research. These are hundreds of value chain in that business. But because of retrogressive mindset, somebody is talking about irrelevancy in the house. What is not even worth discussing. They are not even telling the federal government to encourage them for ranching. Somebody is saying, just the way Chika Austine has the right to move from location A to B, it should also be enshrined that this cow, as I'm moving, the cow should also have right to move like me. Probably also have a passport. Isn't that funny? So these are some of the things that you see when we talk about regional system and federal system, people asking why is it the two have never helped the north? It's because we are talking about human capital index. Any society that refuses to develop her human capital, even though you throw billions or trillions of dollars in that society, it is not going to be effective. Ask yourself, building industry, doing a lot of things for themselves to the shock of many. That is what it is. So we are talking about realities in the societies. So it's a terrible thing we're seeing in the north. And people felt it's by the way. People felt it doesn't matter. People trying to downplay that retrogressive way of thinking because people felt people should be careful with a certain region. But that is not going to help anyone. So that's my contribution on that.
Thank you so much for this enlightenment. As we discuss, I know some people might be thinking, now that we are talking about regional government, what will now happen to our Biafra cause? So I want to ask, is regional government a threat to Biafra?
Well, thank you. I want to appreciate you for bringing up this question because it's very, very important our people are educated. You see, if any race, any people, especially in the project we find ourselves, if we are not articulating, if we don't understand the complicity of politics, we definitely lose a lot of things. Because when we talk about regional system, you see a whole lot of outbursts. And this outburst is coming from people who do not understand international politics, who do not understand what we call sectorialism in political development. People, because most of our people have what we call federalist mindset. Federalist mindset implies let it happen now as I want it. And you end up not even having it today, not even having it tomorrow, you would have planned for. I don't know if you understand me, Wanda. You understand me? Because
Yeah.
sectarianism encourages you to prepare for the next 5 years today, sector upon sector. Federalist mindset tells you let it happen today. And if it doesn't happen today and the next 5 years comes, you have nothing to show because you never took time to prepare for the next 5 years. So what am I trying to say? Why did I thank you for bringing up this question? One is this: our people do not understand something. You see, regional system can only threaten Biafran project if IPOB is successfully destroyed. I will repeat, regional system can only destroy the Biafran project if the state successfully destroy IPOB. I'm going to expatiate on this. You see, a regional system simply means we governing ourselves but under Nigerian state. We run our economy, we run our political system. To an extent, we also conduct our foreign policy. In most cases, like in Kurdish region in Iraq, the Kurdish government conducts her foreign policy. Catalonians also run foreign policy to an extent. If you come to Russia, the Chechen region also run foreign policy. Even Scotland, in England, these are regional entities, but under a supranational body. So regional system can give you a leverage for advancement. Let me tell you why Gowon abrogated it, why Gowon advanced the destruction of regional system. Because during the regional system, Ojukwu was able to build a formidable force in eastern region because he was controlling the eastern region. He wouldn't have had that power to control eastern region and eastern region resources if not that there was a regional system. So in our own case, regional system can only destroy the Biafran project when IPOB is destroyed. That's why the politicians of eastern region are putting all their resources, putting all their efforts to make sure that IPOB is crushed ahead of the implementation of the regional system. Because they know that the Yorubas have concluded to seize this opportunity to move Nigeria into regional system because the Yorubas want to develop. They have what it takes. They have the waterways. They have Lagos to help them to reach up the world on Yoruba identity. And they are not wasting time. Let me tell you something that is going on. Do you know that this bill we are talking about, this regional bill we are talking about, do you know it was an individual bill? The bill was emanating from individual. Are you aware, Wanda?
Yeah, exactly, because it is said to be private bill, which is
But,
going to
but
introduce to the president.
yeah, but do you know what happened? They are now moving that bill to be an executive bill by
Exactly.
advising the man, bring it to the president so that the president will be the one to present it to the house. And
Exactly.
in the history of Nigeria, hardly do you see executive bills falling. because the executive will put every threat and pressure to make sure that bill survives. So if it's an individual push, the man cannot get that bill passed. So the Yorubas are now encouraging, give it to our brother who is the president, let him bring it as executive bill, no longer individual bill. And this is why
Okay, you you are in the house. Go ahead. Mazi Chika, can you go ahead, please?
I believe I'm still coming out.
Continue.
Am I coming out?
Yes,
Sorry.
continue. You are coming out. Go ahead.
Okay. So what am I trying to say? So it's obvious that the presidency is interested in moving Nigeria into regions. But what is happening in the East currently is that some evil politicians of Eastern extraction are very unsettled. There's this panics among them that if Nigeria is moving to regional system, there's every possibility for IPOB to hijack the government of the East. So the best thing and the serious project they are working on is how to crush IPOB ahead of time. Because they understand that IPOB owns the population. IPOB owns what it takes. IPOB is an integrational project among the people of the East. There is no politician in East that has what it takes to mobilize the entire Biafran population. None of them, absolutely. He can only mobilize his own world, even in his resources, maybe his local government, or if he's somehow powerful, state level. He cannot mobilize the regional level. And they have realized that the only person and the structure. I hope I'm still here.
You are here.
Okay. So what are they trying to do? In midst of all these fears and anxiety, they are spending huge amount of money to blackmail IPOB. But thank God for 30th May, because 30th May was another opportunity for the Directorate of State of this struggle to re-establish the fact that IPOB still controls the land. It was an ample opportunity. And since that 30th May, there is still more concerns among these actors that if Nigeria goes into regional system, that there is every possibility of IPOB hijacking the entire structure of the region. So it's not a threat. Let nobody think it's a threat. It can only be a threat to Biafra if the movement structure is destroyed. And thank
And the
God for
IPOB
the
of
kind of
today, the IPOB of today, which I know is a force.
yes, thank God for the
IPOB,
quality of
ESN is a
so
volunteer
thank God
army.
for the,
IPOB has also become a state actor, which no one can crush.
so thank God for the kind of leadership in the Directorate of State, the quality of men So they are not interested to make noise or build hysteria and all kinds of distraction. They just want to take issues gradually and gradually. So that is it. And we must work on that skill.
And your
So that is
analysis.
so that is I don't know. I don't know if I'm still coming out clear. I can't even hear you. It looks something is going on with the voice. I don't know if it's from my own angle. Okay. Okay, it's all right. Let me maybe I go out and come.
Can you hear me now? Am I audible? Am I audible now? Okay. All right. Mazi Austine, you are back.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. I am saying that your analysis has been so encouraging and so wonderful. I said it earlier that your coming to the studio today will be a very interesting one, and of course, it is. So let us still look at our, do I call them chiefs or representatives? The Ohales Ndigbo, who has been claiming to be champion the representation of Igbo nationality. Do you think that the cause of regional governments will be embracing, or that the Ohaneze Ndigbo will embrace this call for regional government, or will they still be talking about their restructuring, which they know that it can never be in Nigeria? What do you think about Ohaneze Ndigbo and regional governments?
Yeah. Anyway, one, I'm not a member of Ohaneze Ndigbo, to be candid with you. And if there's anything to say in respect to Ohaneze Ndigbo, it might be a kind of the analysis of their previous position in this question. And we should also understand that the restructuring seems to be a language of certain people. But Tinubu's government tend not to be talking about restructuring because maybe he has seen the packages inherent in the idea of restructuring, and he decided to call a slate by saying we are going regional. You understand me? Because when you talk about restructuring, it's a political language that you and I do not understand what it means. Restructuring might mean something else to Ohanese, meaning different thing to Afenifere, meaning different thing to Arewa Consecutive Forum. Make no mistake about that. But when we say regional system, we know what regional system because it was once applied in Nigeria, but restructuring has never been applied in Nigeria. So I believe that Tinubu's government is being very careful in languages, diction. Because when you say restructuring, you are going to face a whole lot of crisis to interpret what that means. To some, restructuring might also mean regionalism. To others, restructuring might mean giving citizenship to cows. And to another, it might mean something else. So I don't think this government is interested in spending time defining that concept of restructuring. So in the case of Ohaneze accepting it or not, well, Ohaneze is on image battling. Ohaneze, if there is anything Ohaneze is facing, is to redeem her image. And that's why she has been extremely careful in her interpretation and reactions to events of IPOB, like the 30th May. You know, Ohaneze said they will not speak until after the 30th May. And today they have not also said anything. That shows you that Ohaneze is being very meticulous because they don't want to engage their time on internal warfare, which is not helpful to everybody, because it is hard time. We must understand that the freedom is for everyone's benefit, irrespective of your political divide. Everyone is going to benefit for the West for freedom. And the humanization has nothing to do with group identification. Because if it does, late Ogbonneya Onu would not have been crying on APC Congress Day shouting, "Where is the justice?" You can see his political class. He has, as a minister for tech, former minister of science and tech, he was close to the president. He has gotten to echelon of political class, but yet he was facing marginalization. So it is hard time we start understanding this. It doesn't matter the temporal relief you're having because you're a house nigger. Eventually, you will be made to understand that you are still a slave. Because no matter how close a slave is to the slave masters during the slave trade era, that does not remove the appendage of being a slave. So, very, very important. I believe Ohaneze cannot oppose it because it's quite going to be an ideology that most mainstream minds will be abreast with, especially those mainstream minds from South and Middle Belt. So that is it.
Thank you so much, Mazi Austin. At this juncture, I think we shall be opening up lines for Biafrans to call in, because there may be people who may want to contribute or have questions to ask. But before we call out the number, let us also once again take a look at this public notice. And technical engineer, please, can you put the calling number on the screen while I go through the public notice once again? Public notice. The Nigerian military have started their fake media propaganda they have been doing in Imo for years now against IPOB and ESN. They have just published another fake news against IPOB and ESN. From the pictures they released after invading one camp, it is clearly written on the banner, Biafra National Guard, but they decided to target on IPOB and ESN. Biafrans, look at this banner and tell us if this banner has anything to do with IPOB or ESN. Does it mean Nigerian military don't know who is Biafra National Guard? That has nothing to do with IPOB and ESN. And once again, go back to the Facebook page of Mazi Chika. Biafrans, you will see this notice there, and as IPOB that we are, this notice demands justice. After this program, let every one of us go to his page and then do justice to this very public notice. Now I am going to let out our calling number so that Biafrans can call in. The numbers to call: WhatsApp and Signal only. +49 1521 660 9937. I repeat, +49 1521 660 9937. WhatsApp or Signal only. The line is open. Mazi, as you are waiting for Biafrans to call, there is echo. Am I okay now?
Yes, I think you're okay.
Okay. So, as we are waiting for Biafrans to,
I think it will be important the phone numbers are the WhatsApp numbers Skype
yeah,
are
I don't know where
projected
the
on the
echo
screen
is
so
coming
that
from because I can hear the echo.
okay, I think it will be better to have the numbers projected on the screen to enable our people to call in for their questions and contributions. Very, very important. Very, very important. I can't hear you. Maybe I have to go out and come. Okay. So I think it will be very, very. Yes, I can hear you better now. So I think
So, can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you better now.
Okay, the technical engineer, I'm saying that you project the line on the screen so that Biafrans can call in.
So you can also call back the numbers again for our dear listeners.
Okay, the number to call is +49 1521 660 9937. +49 1521 660 937. I hope there is no network glitches to the line. I've sent it to you. I've sent it to you. Have you seen it?
Okay, while we are waiting for that to be projected, the information you just read out about the
We can now
publication by
close the
the.
door. We can now close the door. I've, I've sent it to you. I've sent it to you. I've sent the number to you. I sent it to you earlier. It's there. Yes, caller number one. You are welcome.
Mazi Chika Austine, I thank you for your good work. I thank you for what you have been doing for Biafra. I believe I'm coming out, please. Am I coming out?
Yes.
Yes,
Mazi
yes.
Austin, are you hearing? Go
We can
ahead.
hear you clear.
Yeah. Mazi Austin, I have to thank you so much for your good work. And I also thank you for your right talk. I do follow you always for your Facebook and all of them about. But I have a question to ask Mazi Austin. Please, my question is this. Based on what is happening in Sahel, you can see Burkina Faso, Mali, and the Niger, they have formed confederation, and it's a threat to Nigeria if you can know if you observe. Because me, I'm staying now this western part of Africa. That's where I'm living, and I want to ask, as a Biafra their own. I know if I'm a secret something, but you know more than me as a political analyst. How US are they making plan to know how to secure our place? And most especially because it might be an opportunity because those guys are looking for people to ally. Although we are not yet a nation, I know that. We are just trying to migrate. Now we are now a state actor. But I believe there will be a move for us to, do a team that will be alive because now we need we need friendship. We need to collide. So I believe that's the question. I don't know whether you get my question properly.
Okay. Hold on, don't go. If I get you right, you're asking, is there any need for us to go closer to the members of Sahel? Am I correct?
Yes, you have summarized it. Yeah, you have made a point. Yes, yeah, that's it. That's yeah. You answered me.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. I think I can respond.
Question, sir. Please, also I want to make a request or demand for those of them in BTV, especially
Please,
Mazi Patrick.
let me hear him well so I can. Let me hear him well. I got his first question. I wish to get the one he's saying now.
My second question is a demand, is a request. Is a request, a demand. My second is a demand. I'm demanding from Big TV presenter Mazi Patrick. He can. I want him to be helping us to posting all this in the YouTube and IPOB media. It will help us to download it, even if we are to our work when we finish. We can able to download this because all those things you are saying are very, very vital and very important. So that after our work day, we can go to YouTube and download it. Because I don't have time to watch all those things. Please help us to be putting this in the YouTube. And also that of some of your program. Your program is very, very interesting. But when we go to YouTube, we will not find it. And the Biafrans need to learn and gain something from all this information you are giving to us. But we would like, the facility to get those information. Please, I beg the BTV presenter, this present BTV presenter, Wanda, please talk to Mazi Patrick or Mazi, the person in charge. What's that? Different child. Let them be posting all those things in YouTube. I mean, IPOB media, forgetting the IPOB media extension or something like that. Let them be posting so that we'll be able to download it after program, so that we are able to listen and enjoy the program and follow up. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Mazi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wanda, okay, you can. I had the first one and the second appeal, and I can respond. Am I correct? Can I?
Go ahead.
Okay, he talked about the ongoing event in Sahel, where we're having where we're having a new alliances between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, where there is something we must understand as a people. The leadership of this struggle have been very, very careful, extremely careful in how they make a move. Sometimes most of you should understand that I read our comments. I strictly deal on international politics and diplomacy, um, developments all over the world, and also as it concerns this struggle. And I read our comments. Let nobody make a mistake about that. I read every single comments that emanates from posts I made or I make. And to the best of my knowledge, the leadership of this struggle have been extremely careful in her engagement. Most of you might not like that sequential movement because, like I said earlier, we are still highly flourished with federalist mindset. But the truth remains, you see, when issue like this or such development is happening, every actor must be extremely careful because there are certain actors that if you are not strategically positioned, if you allow emotion to be cloud your decision taking process, you might end up being used to achieve the first party's interest, not even your core interest. Whether you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if you are not careful, I can tell us from historical perspective. You see, Americans mobilized the Taliban to fight the Russians during the Cold War era in Afghanistan. And because Taliban were not strategic during the Cold War in 80s, America used them to push Russia out of Afghanistan and turn against them because they were not strategic. They heard that America wants to help them and they were jumping on the roof. Man, I'm talking about 80s. Now, when it now dawned on them that they were used for the securing of American interest, not even Taliban interest, they started fighting America and started getting Russian support. But at that time, they began to tell Russians what they want. You cannot use us to chase Americans and occupy. But remember, they made that mistake in 80s. So the same thing applies to us as a non-state actor. Though Mada earlier said we are state actor, but for me, I think maybe we are evolving towards that. But as a non-state actor, I believe, Mada, you forgive me to use that word, not a state actor, rather. As a non-state actor and the development that is going on in Sahel, it is the responsibility of this leadership to make a calculative and strategic position. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, they don't want to have a big neighbor like Nigeria that harasses them, that the West pushes on what to do against them. They don't want that. They also know that there are internal conflicts within Nigeria that they can harness to weaken Nigeria or, if possible, to disintegrate Nigeria. But if you're not careful in the way you relate, you might be used to weaken Nigerian state, not even for your own self-determination project. And how you're going to be used or related is based on the kind of signal you are sending. If you send a signal of a desperado, you want it at all cost and all definition, definitely you're going to be offered their own interest. But if you send a signal of what we want is win-win, if there is a need for relationship, what we want is win-win relationship. What we want is mutual relationship that is based on mutuality. Then you can then secure your own interest. So because people think is a something you do haphazardly or something you do, you know, proportionately or whatever. No, you must be calculative. You must spell out your terms. And remember, you are dealing, if even though such relationship exists, I don't know of any for now, but even though it exists, remember, you are dealing with a state actor as a non-state actor. You are dealing with state actor that have a lot of things on her coffer. So you must be careful because the person you're dealing with believes she has a lot to give, not you. Because she's bringing a lot of things. She's bringing her voting system in you and for you. She's bringing her assets for you. She's bringing a lot of things on the table. As a non-state actor like IPOB that is not controlling our resources now, you have a limited thing you're bringing on table. So if you're not calculative, you will be used as a pawn, not for your own interest, but interest of the other parties. So what I'm trying to say is something to the best of my knowledge that the leadership are engaging constructively and not destructively. One might not appreciate the sequence. One might not appreciate the velocity, but the truth remains. The leadership of this time understand what responsibility is all about. So if they carelessly engage and mortgage just because they think they are pursuing for our freedom, they know they own a responsibility to explain. And for our information, that position which and every one of them is occupying is a position of reckoning. If they miscalculate in their diplomatic engagement, each and every one of them have answer to respond, not only for this generation, to generations to come. Each and every one of them understand that. So sometimes they make sure that the actions they are taking is something that today and tomorrow we applaud them, not knock them. So let us understand that. So the event in Sahel, we understand what is going on in Sahel. If anybody thinks our intelligence is not operational and understanding event, that person is getting it wrong. But the truth remains, it is a game of carefulness and not haphazard application. I don't know if I responded to your question. Then on the second one, which has to do with media warriors, I think the media team or the media adjunct of this struggle is doing excellently to see the best way we can have a better outlook. Trust me on that.
Thank you so much. You have done justice to his question. And now we are going to take another call. Abraham John, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Oh, thank God you know my name. Thank you. I was calling to make my contribution to the program.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Abraham.
All protocols did observe.
I wish you can speak loud a bit so I can hear.
Please, can you be audible? Abraham, can you be audible? Can you be audible a bit?
Studio. The question, the effects.
Can you hear him now?
Yeah, but you can take note of the questions and relate.
All right.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, but he wants to make a contribution, and
Okay, he should go.
yes, but
He
he's
should go.
facing technical glitches also. So you try to be audible, Mazi Abraham. Try to be audible. Yes. Go ahead, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Go ahead, please.
Okay, what I'm saying is that what the federal states land, especially in Igbo land territory, they want to replicate Igbo state scenario.
I think he's struggling with his
They have seen that. Can you hear me?
All right, go ahead.
Oh.
Continue, please. His network is too bad.
Is that right?
We are going to take another call. Please, Mazi Demianoba, are you there? Are you there, Mazi Demianoba? All right. I think hello. You are welcome. Please, can you speak up? Abraham called back.
Can you hear me now? Yes, thank you so much once again. Network disconnected. I was trying to say that what federal government is intending to achieve by militarily invading Abia State is to replicate Imo State scenario in Abia State and hopefully across all the states in Igbo land and Biafra land in general. And in doing that, they intend to hamper the economic developments of the current Abia State governor. They want to suspend those developments so that people will begin to talk about insecurity. And they are doing this in multiple fronts. They have contracted a lot of so-called Igbo billionaires who are coming up under the disguise of criticism of insecurity. Latest among them is the one called Cubana Chief Priest, who recently messed up by saying that insecurity is the reason why he has transferred his business from Igbo land to Lagos. Before now, insecurity started when Opozodema came, and he is a personal assistant. He's a special assistant to the governor. And up till now, he has
the
not said
network
anything.
seems to be worrisome. Can you hear me?
Multiple fronts.
Very well.
Federal government is using multiple
I
fronts.
can hear you, so I have to
disorganize the economic developments that are going on in Abia State. And in doing that, they also want to achieve number 2, intimidation and harassment. They want to intimidate and harass innocent citizens so that IPOB will be criminalized or demonized in the mindset of the populace. People will begin to say, you people would have left us, so would have had our peace, we would have been going to our markets. It is your IPOB thing. This is your thing. Our sons are dying, our daughters are dying. So they intend to demonize IPOB with this harassment, with this military invasion. They intend to demonize IPOB, to make IPOB a bad name in the minds of the people. So that is the...
No, I can still hear you.
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
I think it's from my... I don't know.
with that aim of simply demonizing IPOB, they tend to make people repel IPOB. Once you mention IPOB, people will be, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to identify it. That is why they are doing all these military invasions, killing people, harassing people, arresting people, disappearing people without any provocation. Nigeria, for goodness sake, is a country, and they have satellites, they have intelligence, they have military intelligence. What stops them from beaming the satellite in Aba to identify who attacked the military checkpoint, instead of coming to ransack the entire state with military troops, thousands of soldiers, intimidating people? Where is it done in contemporary society in 21st century that a fragment of insecurity is noticed at the place and you flood the entire city with military personnel, killing people and disappearing people? So their aim is to harass people here and intimidate them, and at the end, demonize IPOB so that people will detest and hate IPOB with passion. But they will fail. Their mission will fail. People have come up to the point that they said they will go back again until Biafra is restored. Why not pay attention to them? So I want to actually commend US and every person in IPOB for their resilience, and we must continue because our goal is Biafra and it is sacrosanct. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mazi, for your wonderful contributions.
I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I don't think I am also audible. The engineer, can you let me know if I'm still audible? But because you can see that Mazi Austine is still battling with his technical glitches as well. Kindly let me know if I am audible. Or Biafrans, can you let me know if I am audible, please? Am I audible? Biafrans, let me know if I am audible. I don't think anyone is hearing me anymore. All right. I think that will be bringing us to the end of this program because of the network glitches that Mazi Chika Austine is passing through. He has made a wonderful analysis concerning today's program. And in absence of everything, I want to remind Biafrans and viewers all over the world, the international communities, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, who was kidnapped from Kenya since 2021 and has been illegally incarcerated in DSS Gulag. Despite the court rulings, different court rulings, the court ruling in Aba and Omaha, the Federal High Court, Abuja, even the International Court of Justice has given the ruling that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is discharged and acquitted, that Nigerian government and her secret state police, the DSS, should apologize to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and also pay him damages. He should be compensated for the damages of lives and property that occurred in his home country of Afaruku Ibek when the security team invaded his home country. Until now, federal government is still holding him incarcerated. I think we just take this one more call. Let's just take this one more call and we conclude. Hello. Hello, caller on the line.
Good evening from my side.
Good evening.
Nelson, Commando, calling from Ghana. Hope you're still online.
Go ahead. But why I do not want to entertain more questions is because Chika Austine is having some technical network glitches, and he's the one that's doing justice to the questions. That's why I would not want to entertain more questions. But you can go ahead if it is a contribution that you may want to make.
It's not a question I want to ask, it's a contribution.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay, I heard Mazi Chika Austine saying that IPOB, that we are not state actors. So I was like, is it that you don't know the activities of IPOB or what? Because as IPOB and what we represent and what we are doing more like a state actors. Because I've checked what is the state actors doing, what is their work and what are they doing, and what is the state actors, what does it mean? And he said that a state actor is a government who hold power, negotiates identities, and navigate moral dilemmas within works and culture. They shape policies, enforce laws, and represent states' interests in various capacities. Which is what I'm saying, that IPOB is representing Biafrans in different capacities. IPOB hold power, they negotiate identities because of with them. They also do a lot of negotiation, a lot of peace talk among Biafrans and among other people who are trying to bring problem to Biafrans. And so that is what IPOB represents, and this is who IPOB are. So saying that IPOB is not a state actor is I'm a little bit confused and then let's say disappointed, no. But he should try to check more about this work of state actors, and then he should come back and then say that IPOB are state actors. So we should not be speaking with Nigerian government in their language, trying to demonize IPOB or trying to belittle IPOB in their work and what they are representing. And then as for what is going on in our land, and then you guys talked about regional government in Nigeria, whether it will affect Biafra freedom or not. Whether there is regional government or not, Biafra is going. The regional government in Nigeria will never ever stop the quest for Biafra restoration. It will never ever stop the actualization of Biafra, because that is our main objective. The people that they killed because of Biafra quest, their death will never be in vain. We must be free. Nigeria is not our country, and we don't have anything to do with Nigeria. We have been existing before Nigeria creation, and then we must exist as a free people, and Nigeria can go on their way. That is all I have to say on that, and keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mazi Nelson. But on what Mazi Chika Austine was trying to explain, he was trying to explain that on a broader context, in the sense that Biafra is not yet a state, in quotes. We are still pursuing the course. The leadership is still making the diplomatic moves to engage international diplomats So he is trying to be economical with words, not that he's trying to demean IPOB, not at all. So that is what he means by non-state actors. I understand him very, very well. That has to do with a broader context. Thank you so much. So on this note, we are saying thank you, or I am saying thank you to the wonderful viewers, to great people of Biafra, and also appreciating the leadership for what they are doing to make sure that the cause of Biafra is not crushed. They are still holding the baton for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the DOS, especially HOD, and the person of Mazi Chika Austine. He's a man of strong will who never makes noise, but he believes in actions. He has been making a tremendous move, engaging international diplomats in course of releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to make sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released as a free man, just like the court has pronounced that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu could not be released on bail after he has been discharged and acquitted from the court. We also thank you, our General Commander, Mazi China Samoru. We thank all the members of the DOS, all the great Biafrans who has been supporting this leadership to make sure that IPOB actualize the cause of the freedom of Biafra. And we know that one day Biafra shall come. And we know that in no time that our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, shall be a free man. Thank you, wonderful Biafrans, for watching, and I still remain Ada Jovister Chichi. Enjoy the rest of your day.